Right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Morning, everybody. We thank you for your patience. We are going to begin in about 5 to 10 minutes, so hang tight. You may be seated. The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister and Minister of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. Ministers joining us virtually. Mr. Michael Phillips, Opposition Spokesperson for Transport, Works and Housing. Mayors, Mrs. Audrey Sewell, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation and the Office of the Prime Minister. Heads of agencies also joining us online. Ms. Janet Thompson, Chair, Panel of Judges for the Low Cost Housing Design Competition, and all panel members. Team members of the Technical Directorates of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, sponsors and representatives in the building, design, and construction industry, awardees and stakeholders, media representatives, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are here this morning to take another step on the journey of hope. In 2018, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, had a dream. And the dream was that the indigent and the vulnerable among us, no less proud Jamaicans because of it, would have access to affordable housing. In 2019, this dream was implemented as the new social housing program, it forming the H of the larger HOPE program, and it was implemented by the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. On May 7, 2021, in keeping with its mandate, the ministry launched a competition. It put out a call for expert designers of the built environment to submit designs that were cost-effective, modern, resilient, built for the Jamaican climate and the Jamaican circumstance. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to see the fruits of that competition. So, proud Jamaicans all, I invite you to sit back, but don't relax. Pay attention. The future of Jamaica is going to be revealed over the next 2 hours. My name is Theodore Henry, and I will be your host. Before we go any further, I invite Mr. Yannick Watson, Chief Technical Director of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, to invite God's presence and blessing on the event's proceedings. Mr. Watson.
All protocol observed. Good morning. Let's bow our heads for prayer. Lord, as you would have it, today is indeed a special day. You have created a land of diverse people, a land where we will prosper. Thank you for giving our leaders vision. Thank you for holding their hands and guide them as we march towards 70,000. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to change lives of Jamaicans. As we go through the next few years, we are looking forward to your presence in creating housing, low-cost housing and affordable housing for Jamaicans who definitely will be better off. As we go through today's proceedings, we're asking for your guidance. We're asking for you to continue to bless us. And we hope that we will all see the change that you have inspired in our Prime Minister to put forward for us. Lord, continue to guide and protect us. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Mrs. Audrey Sewell, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation and the Office of the Prime Minister, will now give us an overview of the new social housing program, what it is, what it has done, but also, very importantly, what it will do. Mrs. Sewell.
Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. The Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister and Minister of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. Mr. Michael Phillips, Opposition Spokesperson on Transport, Works, Housing too? Okay, and Housing. That's my former ministry. Mr. Yannick Watson, Chief Technical Director in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Ms. Janet Thompson, Chair of the panel of judges, and all other panel members. Team members of the Technical Directorate of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, and my colleagues from the Office of the Prime Minister. Sponsors and representatives in the building, design, and construction industry. And I want to particularly recognize Ms. Maria Warren Kidd. She's representing YP Seaton, and this morning she proudly presented her check, one of our sponsors. Welcome, yes. Awardees, stakeholders, media representatives, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the awards ceremony for the low-cost housing design competition. Today, I'm very honored and privileged to join with the Prime Minister and my team from the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation in awarding the winners in the ministry's low-cost housing design competition. We started this journey some time ago when the housing component of the HOPE program got off the ground, where the Prime Minister noted that the current model for delivering houses to the indigent needs to have sustainable and efficient way to ensure that we can optimize on the resources. He directed that there should be a design competition to encourage professionals in related fields to come up with feasible solutions. It was from that charge that the planning committee was organized, and on May 7, 2021, the low-cost housing design competition was launched. After receiving the submissions, sitting through planning meetings, to the judges' deliberations, and their debriefing with the Prime Minister, we are finally here. Today, we'll be announcing and awarding the winners in the 4 competition categories, which cover 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and multi-family units. As the brainchild of the Prime Minister, the low-cost housing design competition solicited the involvement of our own Jamaican architects, engineers, builders, and students of the built environment to identify cost-effective, sustainable, climate-resilient designs for the housing solutions to be built under the new social housing program. Ladies and gentlemen, the new social housing program, which, as I said before, is the housing component of the HOPE program, seeks to improve the lives of the indigent and other vulnerable persons within our society through adequate housing. Currently, our engineers within the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation are responsible for the design of the units which are constructed under the program. The winning entries from this competition will be utilized to inform the design of future housing solutions to be constructed under the program. Participants, I must commend you for your innovative and forward-thinking designs. We got the feedback from the judges. You have truly shown that Jamaica has great talent. During the period of the competition intake, we received over 300 applications, and we were delighted at the overwhelming response. I will not say too much at this point, as you will hear further details from the judge's report. Ladies and gentlemen, this competition would not have been possible without the guidance of the planning committee chaired by Mrs. Autherine Scarlett. Other members of the committee include Mr. Yannick Watson, CTD, you heard from him earlier in prayer, Mr. Roger Blake, architect in the Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change, Mr. Markel Virgo, Legal Officer in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Ms. Vanessa Williams, Investment and Projects and Implementation Manager, Ms. Nakia Morris, Senior Manager, Community Development from the Housing Agency of Jamaica, Mr. Brian Saunders, Senior Projects Manager, National Housing Trust, and Mr. Richard Cargill, Acting Program Director, New Social Housing Program. We want to also acknowledge the panel of judges and the supporting role that the staff of MEGJC played. While I'm not the person slated to give the vote of thanks, it would be remiss of me not to register my note of thanks and appreciation here. Thank you all for your unswerving dedication and support. Our esteemed panel of judges worked diligently to review each submission which met the requirements of the competition and adhered to the submission rules and guidelines. And I must again commend them. And I want to acknowledge them in person. We have Miss Janet Thompson. She's from the Jamaica Institute of Architects, and she was the chair. Mr. Francois Munda, he's from the Caribbean School of Architects, and he was the vice chairman. Are you here, Mr. Munda, or are you online? He's online. Mr. Delbert Wallace, he's from Burroughs and Wallace, Chartered Quantity Surveyors and Building Economists. Mr. Wallace is online. Mr. Glacier Ricketts, Jamaica Institution of Engineers. Yes. Miss Diana McPherson from NEPA. Miss NEPA, not here, online. Ms. Trika Lewis, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. Ms. Simone McCulloch, yes, National Development Planning Policy and Monitoring Branch of MEGJC. And Mr. Shane Miles, Senior Director of Projects and Technical Service in the Ministry of Housing, etc., etc. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, the new urban agenda acknowledges housing as a catalyst for creating sustainable cities and communities. Sustainable Development Goal 11 aims to make cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. This competition, and by extension, the new social housing program, is seeking to build safe, resilient, and sustainable communities. The new urban agenda represents a shared vision for a better and more sustainable future. So too should we, the government, the opposition, the private sector, citizens, to have a shared vision for a more sustainable housing future for Jamaica. The journey of a mile begins with one step. We have begun. And I look forward to seeing the implementation of the winning designs in communities right across Jamaica. Congratulations to all our participants. We say thanks to our judges and all the persons who provided the support, and may the best design win. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Sewell. As mentioned, the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Honorable Desmond McKenzie, is with us today. Welcome, Minister. And now he will bring us his remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Most Honorable Prime Minister, Permanent Secretary Audrey Sewell, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, present, good morning. I am pleased to be participating in this very historical event this morning, as it speaks to a competition where Jamaicans, and looking at their faces, I see a lot of young budding architects here, was afforded the opportunity to reason with your government in designing affordable housing solutions. My apologies, colleague MP Michael Phillips, opposition spokesman on housing. My apologies. The Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development is an integral partner in this new dispensation. We are committed, Prime Minister, to work with your ministry through the OPE program to incorporate the social housing program of the Ministry of Local Government in this venture. It is important that we pay attention to affordable housing solutions because that is a major requirement. The urban component of the Ministry of Local Government have started to expand our housing program into rural Jamaica. We, Prime Minister, on our own would not be able to build as many houses as we want, but PSUL, with this join-up approach, Michael, we will get much more for the price of one. So I am going to be a wagonist this morning by coming on board. And I think the Prime Minister must be commended for the innovative approach to housing. And as a member of Parliament who represents a constituency where the housing needs are great, I can speak from a position of knowledge as to the real challenge we face as a government and as a people in providing affordable housing solutions. I want to express my own appreciation to those private sector individuals who have bought into the concept of the Prime Minister and have decided to come on board to support this program. I want to urge Jamaicans not just to listen to what is being said, but to buy into this program. Because for every single Jamaican that we are able to provide a housing solution for, it will enhance and to build the capacity of that single Jamaican. I urge my colleague, Member of Parliament, and the opposition spokesman to lend its support, not just in terms of your presence, but to be a part of the crusade to educate and to inform Jamaicans about the concept of the OPE program. It's a very good program. The government has committed to build 70,000 houses. The Ministry of Local Government is on board. And I want to urge everyone to come on board and to thank those of you who have submitted your talents this morning. That will determine the distance of this program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Mackenzie. The call has gone out to buy in. Yes? You know what makes buying a lot easier? Not just hearing, but seeing. Am I right? All right. So now we're going to view a short video on the new social housing program, which I want to remind you, the winning designs that we see here today, the new social housing program will be implementing those designs. So please turn your eyes to the screen for this short video.
Providing safe, adequate and affordable shelter has always been a preoccupation of the government. This commitment can be seen through the mandates of the National Housing Trust, the Housing Agency of Jamaica, and the Jamaica Mortgage Bank. The thrust to provide housing for all Jamaicans can also be seen through the work of the Ministry of Local Government, and now the National Social Housing Program. The National Social Housing Program is an extension of the Housing Opportunity Production and Employment Program, HOPE. It was developed in 2018 to improve the housing conditions of the country's poor and indigent.
The idea is to support the development of affordable housing solutions right across Jamaica.
The National Social Housing Program, NSHP, achieves its objectives in 3 ways.
The first is the provision of indigent housing. The benefits will be equitably distributed across 63 constituencies, with each constituency receiving 5 units per annum. Then there is the relocation of vulnerable communities. Persons whose lives are in imminent danger will be given priority attention. And then the third modality is the upgrading of tenements, or as we call them, big yards. One such project will be undertaken in each constituency where we can identify tenement yards.
The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation has oversight for the NHSP, which is administered by a secretariat. Formed in 2019, the secretariat is headed by National Director Danville Walker. The NHSP delivered its first house in 2019. Since then, 29 houses have been completed at a cost of $250 million. They include 12 3-bedrooms, 11 2-bedrooms, 2 1-bedroom units, and 1 tenement yard, which impacted 3 families. With over 70 persons benefiting from the new social housing program, plans are in place to give even more Jamaicans similar access. 15 units are currently under construction and are on track to be completed by July.
The program is designed to address people who are in need, people who can't get houses going the regular method, but it is also designed to bring hope to communities that are in need of such interventions. So if we can make an impact on this kind of housing situation, then we would have started well down the road to address the issue of housing poverty.
All right, there we have the visuals to go alongside what we have heard. Now, the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation mentioned a panel of judges. And I want to mention that the winning designs didn't just choose themselves. Shocking, I know. But for that task and to make those difficult decisions, because believe me, the talent that came to this competition made the decisions difficult. For that task, we had a dedicated panel of expert judges led by Miss Janet Thompson, who will now deliver her report. And she will be followed by a musical selection by Staff Sergeant Leroy Newell of the Jamaica Defense Force. But Lady Thompson, she will deliver her report.
Thank you. Oops. Thank you, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Mr. Mikhail Phillips, Opposition Spokesman for Transport Works and Housing, Mrs. Audrey Sewell, Permanent Secretary, all other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I speak this morning for the panel of judges. Excuse me? Sorry? Too high? Yes, I speak this morning for the panel of judges, and firstly, we really would like to congratulate the Ministry, Prime Minister, Permanent Secretary, and all others for the launch of this competition, which really is an excellent idea and an important one, as it has harnessed really from a broad cross-section of our population, young and old, professionals and not, the ideas, which I think is really what we're trying to get, ideas on how to solve this problem. We also want to thank the Ministry for selecting us as a panel of judges. As Permanent Secretary Sewell said earlier, there were 9 judges selected from a broad cross-section of both private and public bodies, all professionals. And we really were very excited and happy to be given this assignment and really carried it out very carefully and diligently, because it's really such an important task that we were given to judge these entries. I'll begin also by congratulating all the entrants and the winners. Certainly, coming out of the work that we did, it's clear that we have a wealth of good ideas out there in how to address this problem that we're all trying to, this challenge rather, that we're all trying to solve. So I'll talk a little bit about the entries that were received in each category. I'll also talk just a little bit about how we went about the grading. There are 4 categories, as you know: 1, 2, 3 bedroom and multifamily. In the 1 bedroom category, we received 9 entries that were compliant in terms of meeting all the requirements of the competition. In the 2 bedroom category, we received 14 entries. In the 3 bedroom category, we received 8. And in the multifamily, we received 4. I think we all felt that it would have been, we had hoped to have had more entries that we were able to review, which meant that they were compliant. But certainly the ones that we did receive showed, as I said before, that there really are some excellent ideas out there. It was also clear that there was a range of levels of expertise in the entrance. It was clear some were perhaps professionals, some were students, others may just have been, people with good ideas that were really not formally trained. We embarked on a process of individually grading in each section first. So we started with the 1 bedroom, moved on to 2, then 3, then multifamily. So we would individually and independently grade each entry, after which we would then convene, review our findings, and the winner in each section or in each category was determined based on majority. What that meant was the majority of the 9 judges that had a particular entry as first or second or third. So that was the methodology for grading. The entries, as I said, really did, many of them showed a high level of creativity, some really good ideas. One of the things I think collectively we sort of would have wanted to see a bit more of is designs specifically applicable and appropriate to, particularly where climate is concerned, or climate. Things like, how do you get air in? Is it a sliding window or is it a louvered window? Things like this are important in terms of thinking about our climate here. That said, though, there was a great range of entries that did display all of the things that we were looking for. Naturally, we had a mandate for grading in terms of the terms of reference for the judges for grading. There was a percentage allocated to each of the, I think, five categories: cost, and judges help me here. We had cost, we had innovation, we had climate resilience, we had functionality, and materials, I think it was, yes. So, all in all, it took us a long time, and we backed and forth, you know, with our grading and with the winners, but we eventually all came to one, and we did have majority, actually. On all of the awards that we made, it was determined based on majority. So it was a good competition, generally, all in all. There certainly are elements in many of the entries that were received that can be taken forward into formulating a design solution that can address the challenge that we have of the housing problem in Jamaica. So again, thank you on behalf of all the judges for affording us this opportunity. We did enjoy this assignment, and congratulations to all the winners. Thank you.
Heal the world. Make it a better place. For you, for me, for the indigent, for the vulnerable. Let's make it a better place. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we will have the morning's main address, and that will be coming to us by the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Minister of Economic Growth and Job Creation. As you have heard, the conceptualizer, the mind behind this program, and sir, if I may add, the builder man. So, Prime Minister, welcome. The moment is yours.
For the record, I am satisfied that under the DRMA, all protocols have been observed. Having said that, and just to remind everyone that we did increase the meeting limit. You could have a meeting of up to 100 persons, but for government, it still remains at 50. So I'm surveying the room and I'm satisfied that we have not. And I'm also satisfied that everyone in this room would have been vaccinated fully. And that is the protocols that we have established for the government. We are not going around trying to force anyone to be vaccinated. Our public health strategy is that wherever we have controlled, organized gatherings, we should ensure that all the persons there are vaccinated. And you would have seen us do that for the football match. And that will be how life will have to proceed until the virus is eliminated from being a novel, threatening virus to humanity. Having said that, there are some other protocols which I must observe. And Madam Permanent Secretary, you would have heard me say that when government is doing these formal events, we should only establish the protocols once and not at every speaker spending precious time at the stand acknowledging everyone that has been acknowledged already. But seeing that we are all very sensitive, and you know, there's one word that is of great importance to anyone who is a Jamaican, and that is respect. So let me show my respect to the Honorable Minister of Local Government, and pardon me for removing my mask. You know, people have been complaining that they can't hear you well, they can't see your expression well because I've been so faithful in wearing the mask. Not that I'm easing up any, but we're all vaccinated in this room. So the risk is reduced. So I will therefore take off my masks. So let me pay my respect to the Honorable Desmond McKenzie, Minister of Local Government, who is here with us. Other elected officials who may be here physically or virtually. Mr. Michael Phillips, Opposition Spokesperson on Transport and Works. Mrs. Audrey Sewell, Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister and in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Mayors and councillors, as I said before, elected officials, also joining us virtually. Ms. Authrine Scarlett, Chairperson of the Low-Cost Housing Design Competition Planning Committee and other committee members. Ms. Janet Thompson, Chair of the Panel of Judges, and I think you have done an excellent job, Chair of the Panel of Judges of Low-Cost Housing Design Competition, and all other panel members. The team at the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, they have done an excellent job as well. Let me also acknowledge our sponsors and representatives in the building and design construction industry. I'm also acknowledging the awardees and stakeholders, media representatives. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Today is yet another manifestation of the government's commitment to providing affordable, sustainable, and climate-resilient housing solutions for our most needy, for our hard-working citizens, and for our indigent citizens. The program's key objective is affordability. That is the primary objective. But there are some other criteria as well. Sustainability. That is now a word that features heavily in everything that the government does, particularly as it relates to the environment. So the housing solution has to be sustainable, meaning that it is not taking from the environment in a way that could damage it, meaning that it will last long with low maintenance, meaning that it will use energy in an efficient way. We also wanted a design that was replicable, meaning that we could use it all over in multiple circumstances. And we wanted a design that had aesthetic appeal. People obviously want their home, whether it is a 1-bedroom or a 10-bedroom, to look like a castle. So we wanted designs that had some aesthetic appeal. The reason why we went the route of competition is that we needed to develop a thought community around building in Jamaica. Obviously, we have schools of architecture and urban planning. We have schools of engineering. We have creative persons in design. But they may be off on missions that are commercially driven, that may not necessarily always look at public interest or public good. And the government has a role to stimulate the emergence of a community of thought around building and design in Jamaica. And a good way to do this is to get the architects, the engineers, the designers, the urban planners who may be pursuing their individual streams to collaborate on a national problem. And what is a national problem? The national problem is to find a housing solution that comes in at a price point where the average Jamaican worker can afford. That is the problematique. What we're seeing happening in Jamaica is that this problem of affordable housing cannot be solved by the market itself. So there is not now a market solution to low cost and affordable housing. And we see that each time we go to the market with a housing solution and we believe we have gotten it at the right price point so that the average person can afford it. And now I'm talking about solutions for the mechanic, for the gardener, for the household helper. As soon as we believe, yes, we have reached that price point, as you turn around, escalation. Prices gone up. I can point to one solution that the government has been struggling to put in place now for 10 years, a housing development in St. Catherine Estates. When we started that 10 years ago, or about 10 years ago, the price for that was somewhere in the region of about $3.5 million. And it meandered through successive administrations, and it wasn't done. And now the price is somewhere between 6 and 7. we have that challenge. We were targeting 6, but when the price of steel doubles, the price of ply and lumber and all of those double, there's very little that we can do to keep the price down. So one strategy that we are employing is to look at the design. Why is it that we are so wedded to block and steel? Are there other building materials that could be incorporated into designs that give people the confidence and security in their building that we have grown so accustomed to with block and steel? Are there materials that are equally strong and equally affordable and accessible that could be integrated? And are there ways even to continue to use concrete and steel in more innovative ways? And for that to happen, you really need a community of thought around it. Because, let's be frank, government will not be able to build or even facilitate or finance, even partially, all the housing solutions that we need. But government's interest is to get people who are building on their own to adapt and adopt technology, new building methods and solutions in what they're deciding to build. We're hoping that with these designs, we could use them now to influence persons when they are making their construction decisions. And how are we going to do this? Well, one, all the designs that have been entered in the competition, those that have won and those that have not, they will be there for us to refer to and possibly to use, depending on the circumstances that may arise. So when government is going to build, we will have these designs as templates that we can use. We have already started with the new social housing program to put in place solutions for low-income persons, unemployed persons, indigent persons. You would have seen from the video clip that all the beneficiaries are persons who definitely are in need. When you look at their housing structure, the conditions of the persons, it is clear these are persons who deserve to be assisted. But the prices of the houses were coming out substantial. Some of them more between $6 and $8 million, depending whether it's a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, or a 3-bedroom. That is not sustainable from a budget standpoint. So we need to find solutions that will deliver the shelter, but possibly for half the price. And we are seeing some solutions being presented. I believe when the winners are announced, you will see them, that we are going to be using those designs to construct. Now, with the new social housing program, we are not able to build these houses as how we would build under the NHT or under the Housing Agency of Jamaica, where we build housing schemes where these units are replicated. We build these units in communities, but we expect them to become examples. So we intend to deploy some of these solutions in communities so that people around can see the innovation. And when they choose to build, which in every community, whether irregularly settled or regularly settled, people are building. And what we want to do is to get them to use some of these designs, some of these materials, some of these concepts in how they are building. And in that way, we can start to have a greater impact on the urbanization that is happening and the development of communities that is happening. You know, Mikhail, I often wonder when I drive through our countryside or even in the inner cities, why do we use so much zinc? Which then becomes so unsightly afterwards. Why is it that we choose to construct in a particular way where there may be other solutions that we can employ in building? And I'm hoping that from this design competition and government building out these solutions right across Jamaica, we can then start to stimulate and inspire people who are building to change the way in which they are building. And that will have a signal effect right across the country. But having said that, recently there was a conversation regarding the cost of housing and a particular housing development that was undertaken in New Kingston. My recollection is that that housing development was being dreamt of for the last 10 years or more. 2000, yes, it's almost a decade that that development was being dreamt of. The director of protocols for this proceeding here pointed out that, you know, I had a dream about creating low-income solutions for housing. Yes, I have a dream, but I would point out very clearly, dreaming is what you do when your eyes are closed. I want to take it one step further and say I had a vision, which is what you do when your eyes are open. So I've been visioning this thing. And that is why all of these housing developments which people dreamt of 10 years ago, I mentioned Catherine Estates, there are several of them on the books. People dream of them. But it is only one government, one prime minister that has opened his eyes and got it done. So all the talk you hear, there couldn't be any talk if it wasn't done. We did it. We built it. So all who want to talk can talk. But it is the action that counts. The people who will benefit from Catherine Estates and from this other development in New Kingston, they will be happy homeowners. And Mikhail, we are not just restricted to that. This year, the NHD plans to spend $57.7 billion. Let me say that again so that those who want to talk can talk about it. $57.7 billion to start 8,500 units and complete 7,000 units by the 31st of March 2022, or in other words, by the end of this fiscal year. No other government has ever done that. Go and check the records for those who want to talk. Go and check the records. And the conversation, whilst there are some merits to the conversation regarding whether or not the NHD should build those houses, and I will answer those questions because I too have to look at the economics behind it. So there is not a sense that there isn't validity to some of the conversation. But the NHD does have a duty to all levels of income once you're a contributor. So it is an unfair criticism of the NHD to say the NHD should not participate in all levels of the housing market. That represents about 80 units of 8,500 units, which are all targeted. We gave a directive to the NHD that 95% of their portfolio must be directed towards a price point $8 million and below. And so the NHT has basically restructured its affairs to support the development of affordable and low-income housing. But it does have an obligation still to contributors, whether you are high-income or low-income contributors. And the government is very sensitive to this, which is why you can get 0% interest rate on your mortgage if you're earning something in the region of below $15,000 per week. Government is considerate of that. And so whilst I listen carefully to the conversation, there are valid points to be made, but I think that the conversation does not incorporate all elements of the problem and all the actions that the government has taken. When have you ever heard of the NHT doing 8,500 housing solutions, completing them, and starting 7,000 more, not even when they were doing Portmore? And none of these houses are going to be expensive houses for high-income people. So I thought I would raise it here at the competition, which further supports the government's agenda and the people's agenda about finding a solution for low-income housing. Government is 110% committed to finding solutions for our low-income earners. And this is just the NHT. The HAJ has other solutions coming. Our commitment, Minister Mackenzie and Mikhail, our commitment is for 70,000 housing solutions. And those solutions are going to be directed towards the affordable housing category, low-income housing category, young professionals. And you will have a mix of solutions. We will be providing lands where we can. We will be providing service lots where we can. We will be providing starter homes where we can. And we will be providing full solutions where we can. Our greatest challenge has been to find land in the corporate area for mass development of housing solutions. We just simply do not have the land in the corporate area. And where we do find the lands in the corporate area, the price is prohibitive. And it forces us, if we're going to build in any mass way, we would have to build and go up. And the challenge is the more you go up, the more expensive it becomes. And so there's the NHT's strategy, therefore, in building out the solutions. You will see that we're going all over the island. In Clarendon, we're in Hanover, we're in Westmoreland, we're looking at St. Thomas now as an area for development. St. Catherine continues to be an area in which we are expanding our footprint. But the challenge is, especially for people who are young professionals who want to stay in this area in Kingston, we just simply cannot find the land. But that leads to another area which I'll just briefly mention on, and that is urbanization and urban blight. And one of the reasons why we're doing this competition is to find solutions that can address the urban blight which is taking place in communities that were developed in the 1950s and in the 1960s and are now in a state of significant disrepair, but were the beneficiary of proper urban planning. So they do have roads, they do have water and other infrastructure. The question is, how can the government intervene in these privately held lots to stimulate their redevelopment. And that is what the Ministry of Housing is working on now, to come up with our urban intervention policy, so that when you look at communities, you know, let me not call names, but immediately you can know the communities that are coming to mind. Valuable real estate. They were developed with proper planning, urban planning, but for some reason they have fallen into significant decay. But they do hold the land and the infrastructure. And the government needs to find a way to intervene in this situation, to stimulate the redevelopment of those properties so that they can become part of the housing that young people, for example, would want to buy into. I've said a mouthful, but let me commend the persons who have participated in the competition. Your participation should not end with your submission and the collection of your certificate. We want you to continue to develop that community of thought around building. It is that community of thought that we hope will spill over into the personal choice of persons who are building. That, you know, instead of going for plywood and zinc, maybe there are some other solutions, containerized solutions that are possible, that could be deployed in a tasteful way, that we could start to see a transformation of what our urban spaces look like. There are solutions such as expanded foam panels and so forth that are easily deployed. Maybe we should try to get people who are constructing to integrate those into their development. But that can only come when there is a school of thought influencing the decisions that people are making for construction. So the competition is good for the government. We get the designs, we get the templates, we get the ideas. It's good for the participants. They get to express their creativity, but we also want them to continue to become the community of thought around construction and building and design in Jamaica. And then the government can use those ideas strategically all around the country to stimulate and to stimulate the replication of them in communities. So all in all, I believe that this is a success. And I again thank the judges, thank the participants, and the Ministry of Economic Growth for organizing the competition. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for painting so clear a picture. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been sitting for a while. You've heard a great deal about the new social housing program. You've seen a bit of it as well. But now we're at the moment that we have all been waiting for. And that moment is the point where we present the awards for each of the 4 categories of the competition. And I hope you remember what the 4 categories are. If you don't, let me just refresh your memory. We have the category of 1-bedroom buildings or houses, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and the multi-family unit. For each category, well, it is an awards ceremony, so there will be awards. Here are the awards. For 3rd place, $250,000 and a trophy will be the award. For 2nd place, $500,000 and a trophy. And for 1st place, those winners will walk away with $1 million and a trophy. All right, we're really quiet about it, but I'm excited. I'm excited. Let me hasten to say that we also will have honorary mentions this morning. These are persons whose designs were deemed as very impressive by the judges, but they did not score enough to gain a placement. And each entrant mentioned under the honorary mentions will receive a monetary prize of $50,000 and a special recognition certificate. So, ladies and gentlemen, the awards begin now. But before we going to our first category. Minister, Prime Minister, Sir Phillips, Permanent Secretary, I'm going to ask you to help me with this process. So for the honorary mentions, Mr. Phillips, I'm going to ask you to help us with the presentation. For the third place, Permanent Secretary, I'm going to ask you with to help us with the presentation. Minister Mackenzie, second place. And Prime Minister, if we can ask you to help us present the awards for first place. Are we ready? All right. All right. We're going to begin with the one-bedroom category. Starting with our honorary mention, this team is made up of Vincent Carrara and David Bain. These are our first awardees of honorary mention in the one-bedroom category. Please join us on stage. It's a big check. Yeah. Vincent Carrara and David Bain, honorary mention in the one-bedroom category. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Phillips, if you could just remain with us. Also, honorary mentions in this category, the one-bedroom. All right. So we are going to move on now to third place. Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Thank you so much. The third place awardee in the category of one-bedroom, as the Permanent Secretary joins us, is the team of... Do I get the drum roll before or after? I think I should get it before. Is the team of? Sounds good. Michael James, Jamie Shane Newsome, and Anwar Miller. And we're going to invite Jamie Shane Newsome to collect on their behalf. Receiving the check, the trophy, and also, I believe, a nice certificate. Congratulations to our third place winners. We look forward to those designs. In second place, as we invite Minister Mackenzie to join us on stage, in second place, there we go. In second place, we have Anissa Blake for the one-bedroom category. Now, I understand that Anissa Blake is not with us physically today, but is here online. So, Minister, everybody, I see that you got the check, so you really can't go away with it. But we thank you, Anissa, for your submission. Thank you, Minister. And now, Prime Minister, we ask you to join us. And now, Prime Minister, we ask you to join us on stage because the winner of the one-bedroom category is about to be announced. Can I have my drum roll, please? Winner in the one-bedroom category, first place placement is Richard Gazzadar, who is with us online. But Prime Minister, if you could show them their check. All right, there it is. $1 million, a trophy. And though you're not here with us physically, presented by the Prime Minister. Congratulations to all the winners and the honorary mentions in the one-bedroom category. Moving on to the two-bedroom category. Mr. Phillips, we welcome you back to the stage. We're going to start with our honorary mentions. And this team, well, our only team in the honorary mentions for the two-bedroom category are represented by Agassi Murray, Kevin Reynolds, Kalila Baker, and Cleon Insang. Come on, welcome them to the stage. Welcome them to the stage. As the chair of the panel of judges mentioned, there's quite a variety with the entrance. I did tell you at the start of our presentation that the future of Jamaica would be revealed in the 2 hours. Mr. Phillips, please stay with us. We're going to go back to the one-bedroom category. There is another team of honorary mention. That is Hopeton Smith and H.G. Smith Limited, who are also not here with us in person, but they're online. So you can still clap. Thank you so much, Mr. Phillips. All right, back to the two-bedroom category. We've done the honorary mentions. Now for third place. The third place winners in the two-bedroom category are Keisha Daly, Atrao Walker, Dave Hilton, and represented by Stephen Rampere. Keep it going, it's a long walk. Stephen Rampere representing and collecting on their behalf. Congratulations. A check and a trophy and a certificate. Third place in the two-bedroom category. Minister Mackenzie, if you could join us for the second place awardee. Second place awardee in the two-bedroom category are Ryan Jensels, Keela Ray Ashley, Leslie Gordon, Giovanni McEcrod, and Darren Barnett. This one is a big team. All right, all right. Receiving a check of $500,000, a certificate, and their trophy. And now, our first place awardee in the two-bedroom category. I invite the Prime Minister to the stage. Let me look very closely at my script. They are here, Prime Minister, they are here. In fact, it's one person. Zane Finnegan. And here he comes to the stage. First place winner in the two-bedroom category. Zane Finnegan. $1 million and a trophy. Wonderful, wonderful. A round of applause for our first place winner in the 2-bedroom category. We're going to take a small break right now to allow Mr. Finnegan to process the weight of that check. And we're going to invite Staff Sergeant Leroy Newell back with the saxophone to give us another musical rendition. Mary, did you know? Appropriate for the season, but also, Prime Minister, appropriate for the program that we're here. Speaking about low-cost housing, I really think Mary and Joseph could really have benefited from something like this. No? Am I the only one? All right, all right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're speeding along. We're going into the 3-bedroom and the multi-family unit categories. Before I do that, though, I'd like to just make the contestants who are here, the winners who are here, aware that there are personal plaques to be collected. So don't leave unless you collect your personal plaques and those of your team members who may not be here. That being said, in the 3-bedroom category, Mr. Phillips, for honor and mention, we have Audley English. And Mr. English is represented today by Dr. Patricia Green. All right, honorary mention in the 3-bedroom category. All right, we're not keeping the check. All right, all right. Now we go on to our 3rd place winners in the 3-bedroom category. Our 3rd place winner is Dennis Douglas. A check of $250,000, a trophy, and a certificate for Mr. Douglas. There we have it. There we have it. All right, congratulations, Dennis Douglas. In 2nd place, I did mention that my name was Theodore Henry, did I not? Yes. In 2nd place, and you'll understand why I say this, with a check of $500,000 for the 3-bedroom category, our winner is Glenford Henry. There is enough space on that check. Mr. Henry, I will not begrudge you your hard work. Congratulations. Second place winner in the 3-bedroom category, $500,000 and a trophy. All right, we're on to that coveted 1st place. The winner of the 3-bedroom category, as our Prime Minister joins us on stage. The winner of the 3-bedroom category is Fitzroy McIntosh. $1 million trophy and an offer to help him spend it. Congratulations, our winners in the 3-bedroom category. We now move on to our final category, which is the multi-family unit category. We don't have any honorary mentions in this category, so we will begin with 3rd place. The 3rd place winner in the multi-family unit category is Janoy Evans. Now, you may notice that I'm still standing by myself up here. Janoy Evans is not with us physically, but is online. We congratulate you for your 3rd place win in this category. In 2nd place, multifamily unit category, our winners are not here. Despite that, our winners are Sheldon Duncombe and Y. Lung. Prime Minister, this is the last walk that you'll make, I promise you. 1st place winner in the multifamily unit category is Matandara Clark Architects. And this team is made up of Malela Matandara Clark, Dion Clark, Ronnie K. McLaren, Suzette Adam Rickards, and the team will be represented by Ronnie K. McLaren and Suzette Adam Rickards. All right, in this category, we have help to manage the check. We congratulate Matandara Clark Architects, represented by Ronnie K. McLaren and Suzette Adam Rickards, for their first place win in the multi-family unit. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know you've been saving up all that applause. You've been doing it very sparingly. So now I will ask you for a big round of applause for all our winners, all our honor mentions. The future of building in Jamaica has been on display here this morning. We cannot end this program without a vote of thanks, and I'm going to invite Kelly Ray Ashley to give us that vote of thanks on behalf of all the contestants and all the winners.
Okay. Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, Honorable Desmond Mackenzie, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Mr. Michael Phillips, Opposition Spokesperson for Transport Works and Housing, Mr. Audrey Sewell, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Ladies and gentlemen, here with us and online, a pleasant good morning, still morning to you all. On behalf of all the participants in the MEGJC competition, and most importantly, my teammates, I would like to express and say thank you. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this event and acknowledge the contribution of those involved in making this a reality. I cannot continue to express my gratitude without first acknowledging someone who was an integral part in opening my eyes to the root of how people live. And that person is Dr. Patricia Green. When I was in school, I did a course with Dr. Green called Preservation in Architecture. And from that, I got the chance to go into Trenchtown Culture Yard. I got to learn about where Bob Marley came from, where he actually lived, the tenement yard. I learned and saw for myself, experienced it, how people, especially in low income, the lower socioeconomic sector, how they live, and how that's how I learned that community is an integral part in everyone's way of life. Each one teach one. I believe that no man is an island, no man stands alone, and we all need everyone's help. And with that, I say thank you again. Thank you, Prime Minister.
And on that note, the journey of 1,000 steps, 1,000 miles, 1,000 whatever distinction we may choose this morning, as our permanent secretary said, 1 mile. That journey has not come to an end today. It has just begun. The competition is over. The designs are in. But now the implementation begins. The Prime Minister, or Minister Mackenzie, has uttered the call, asking us all to buy in personally, not just at the mental level, but with real action. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for being with us here today. And now I bid you a good day.